Hi everyone, welcome to Lesson 8, Special Selectors. In this lesson, we're going to learn about some special CSS selectors called pseudo classes and pseudo elements that let us do special things like grabbing an element when you're hovering over it, or when you're clicking on it, or when you're highlighting it with a mouse, for example. So the first exercise is extend vote for me. This is the code from the example that you just explored. So far, 2 candidates have been eliminated, and it's time to ramp up the campaign. Your task is to modify this code so that each name has a unique message when you hover over the name. Make sure to make use of the IDs to create the rules, and then modify the code so that each name has a unique thank you message when you click on it. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so I know I've mentioned this before. It's really important, and it was mentioned in the exercise. You want to make use of the IDs, which is in your HTML code. When you're styling and you're creating style rules, you are doing that based on your HTML. So that is the tags, the IDs, and the classes. So it's really important to take a look at what's going on in here. And right now, we have an unordered list with 3 candidates, Song, Andil, and Shakti, and each one is in a list item with an ID that is based on their name. So it's exactly their name, and we're going to use that in our style rules. So let's go over and see what we have in the style sheet. Okay, we have 2 rules here. I know you can tell already there's some special effects going on. Let's talk about the first one. So li hover after. Okay, this is a rule and a new type of selector. We haven't seen this before, hence special selectors. Okay, it is basically saying that when I'm hovering over my list items, I want something to appear after. And what I want to appear after is what is in the content property. So that is the text, pick me, pick me. So that's what happens whenever we hover over any of these names, we see that, pick me, pick me. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about this. All right, the hover, this part is called the pseudo class. And pseudo classes are temporary states that your elements can be in. For example, by temporary, I mean that when you're hovering over something, it's usually really quick, right? You're either hovering over or you're not. If you're hovering, then it's a yes, positive state. If you're not, then the state is off, on, off. Okay, so when you're hovering over something, that is a pseudo class. And then the after part, that is the pseudo element. And this is saying to put the content after, literally right after it. Okay, so pseudo class, pseudo element. All right, that covers this rule up here. Now this one down here, the li active after, this is basically similar to what's up above. The only thing that's different is we're using a different pseudo class. So here we're using the active pseudo class, and this activates the state of clicking on something. So if I click on song, then after, I'm going to see the content, you've made a good decision. All right, same thing with either of these because they're all basically list items, so it's going to apply to anything on the list. All right, so that covers the after pseudo element and the hover and active pseudo classes. All right, now I know that's a lot of information. The best way to learn this is to apply it, is to actually use it in coding. So let's go ahead and work on our exercise. Okay, the first part is having a unique message pop up after we hover over each name. All right, so we're going to make use of the IDs, and that's basically just their names. So I'm going to demonstrate this for Song, and then I'm going to have you do it for Andil and Shakti. Okay, so for Song, we are basically saying that Song, when we hover over it, the hover pseudo class only has 1 colon, pay attention to that, and the after pseudo element is 2 colons. Okay, so don't miss that. It might give you some problems if you leave that out. All right, so for the content afterwards, I'm going to say, I'm ready to win. Okay, that's going to be the message when I'm hovering over Song. Now, when I'm clicking on Song, so I'm going to use the active pseudo class and the after pseudo element. Okay, I'm going to put the content, thank you for your vote. All right, so that should cover it. Let's go ahead and test it. Best way to figure out if your code is working. Okay, so let's try this. It's on song. So when I hover over song, there we go. My hover message is working. And when I click on song, I also see my thank you for your vote message. Okay, you don't have to use my messages. You can have fun with this, be creative. It's your code. We didn't get any specific messages to include, so you can put literally anything you want. All right, remember, I only did this for the first candidate on the list. You're going to go ahead and do it for song and on deal and Chakti. Any questions, please leave them in a comment. Nice job on exercise 1.